What's going on, guys? Welcome back to one of my videos. In this video, we're going to bring you guys the best ability of every bloodline of Shindai life. The last time I've done one of these videos was a long time ago, so be sure to show the support below if you want more videos like this. Feel free to hit that like button, comment below what you guys' favorite bloodline in the game is. Also, be sure to join my Discord, link is in the bio below. Anyways, guys, let's get right into the video. Alright, guys, we're starting off with the Akumas in this video. The best ability of Akuma is actually going to be the C spec and the first ability of it. So the auto dodge is insane. Well, the second ability, my bad. The auto dodge and the C specs. The auto dodge is obviously one of the best auto dodges in the game. It lasts a very long time. You can actually cheese it really hard though by spamming M1s. So, you know, if you want to spam the M1s of people, it will make the auto dodge completely useless. So do not use the auto dodge if you're getting M1 comboed and you're close to them, because you will get hard countered that way. But the C spec is the other good thing about it. All right, so by the C spec, I meant the C spec that's actually later on in the actual modes of it. It does 90k. It's very hard to avoid it unless you block. So if you do not block the original hit, it's literally 90k damage, unavoidable. You instantly take it. Not only that, but it stacks. So it stacks from person to person. So if you get 3 people together, boom, 270k damage almost immediately gone from them. So it does a ton of damage, and it obviously those are the two best abilities of Akuma. All right, next up is going to be Bankai Akuma. You guys already know what the best ability of Bankai Akuma is. It's going to be the second ability. Obviously, guys, the Genjutsu, it's a place lock, super long range. It lasts a very long time as well. You guys can't see it, but there's like a black bubble that comes around them as well. So yeah, that ability definitely the best ability of Bankai. It actually makes Bankai crazy good. But other than that, obviously the C spec is absolutely amazing, and the first ability of the Bankai is it's kind of just a basic auto dodge. You know, you teleport back so you can avoid things that way. But the best ability of Bankai is definitely the second one. It's literally not even close. The second ability is just so good. It is the best. All right, so the best ability of the Shiver Akuma is going to be the first and second one. So the first one is going to be the ability that actually is a stun. It actually lasts a really long time, gives you time to charge chi and things like that. And the only downside to it is actually sometimes flings them afterwards, so you can't really combo. But the second ability is a place lock stun. It's kind of like a Bankai Akuma second ability now, in all honesty. You know, some people may say that the C spec is one of the best things of it. I think the C spec is just kind of cool. And obviously you do have the weapon spec, which is also really amazing. But the first two abilities are definitely the best abilities of Shiver Akuma. Next up is going to be Raion Akuma. The best ability of Raion Akuma is actually going to be the C spec. The C spec is literally insane. It's an iframe mode drain chi seal 50k damage auto tracking ranged ability. So yeah, just when it comes to that, you obviously also have the weapon spec. I didn't use it. If you have a martial art, you have to do that. But other than that, the second ability is also quite good. It does a lot of damage if you hit it correctly. It does like 150k, something like that. But the third ability actually got gutted. If you guys don't know, the third ability lost pretty much all of its iframes. So just keep that in mind when you use Raion Akuma. The best ability is by far the C spec. All right, the best ability of Satori Akuma is obviously going to be the weapon spec. There's not really anything else to say about it. Satori Akuma right now is very mode carried. The weapon spec does a crap ton of damage, block breaks, auto tracks. It's an iframe. It has literally anything you would ever want out of a move, and it's all in one weapon spec, so you even have to waste your C spec doing it. And with your C spec, you obviously have this insane speed boost. You're invisible too, so you know, it's obviously just really good. The third ability used to be the best, but actually had a major range nerf, so just keep that in mind when you're using Satori Akuma. The weapon spec is definitely the best. All right, so next up is going to be Sengoku. Guys, it's pretty obvious what the best ability of Sengoku is. It's going to be the counter. The counter is absolutely ridiculous. The iframe lasts like 10 years. The people that say it's bad either haven't used it or haven't really fought it that much. The counter iframe lasts so long, it is unreal. It's kind of like Raion Akuma, the boss drop counter. It lasts that long. It's just insanely long. But other than that, obviously the first ability is absolutely amazing, but the end lag kind of prevents it from being the best ability of Sengoku. And obviously you guys have the third mode. Every ability in the third mode is pretty crazy, and it's all pretty good, all things considered. Up next is going to be Raion Akuma. This one, the best ability is going to be the first and second ability. The C spec is very close to it, but I feel like the C spec doesn't really have enough carry potential to it, but it has no end lag, so you can use abilities during the iframe. You know, that's a big bonus. But obviously the auto dodge is insanely good. It's the only auto dodge that can't get cheesed by M1 combos, because boom, at the end of it, you just do a huge damage burst, so you can set up combos that way. And the second ability is really good for M1 combos. You know, sometimes it teleports you to the person you don't want to be at, but other than that, Raion Akuma, you know, C spec is very close as well. The best ability of Shindai Akuma form 3 right here, get it up in here, is going to be the weapon spec. If you guys haven't seen the weapon spec, it's a mode drain ability that's ranged and it does a lot of damage. It's a lot like Raion Akuma C spec, but as a weapon spec, so it's insanely good. And obviously you do have the first ability here, the clone. It had the counter reattached to it, so the clone ability is actually pretty good now, but the weapon spec is by far the best ability of Shindai Akuma. All right, so the best ability of Sarachia is going to be the second one. The second one, I would say the mode, but the issue with the mode is that you can kind of jump over it, but but if you manage to hit the C spec in the weapon spec of Sarachia, you pretty much instantly win the fight. So the mode is insanely good as well. But the second ability is not only stun global cooldown anymore, and even though it knocks them super far away, it's kind of really easy to hit in all honesty, and it's pretty much just free damage. So if you have an extra bloodline slot, just throw Sarachia second in and you're perfectly good. Hey you, yeah you, have you remembered to hit that like button on the video yet? If you haven't already, go ahead and do it. I'll be waiting. Alright, so starting off with the Goku slash God bloodlines, the best ability of Tengoku is by far the third ability. The third ability is kind of the only really useful ability. I actually do use the C spec, but the C spec is really hard to hit in an actual fight. The chances of you hitting, you know, someone are very minuscule, especially now with wider dash. The best ability by far is the beam one. You can combo extend with it, and overall it's a really good ability. The other ones just have really nothing special to it in all honesty. Now the best ability of Renshiki is going to be the first one by a large margin. Honestly, the only somewhat decent ability is the first one. The first one is a chi steal, so if someone hits you, you actually will regain your entire chi bar. Lasts 5 seconds, and it's an iframe you can use during combos. I'm not even gonna bother showing you guys the other ability of Renshiki besides the weapon spec of the mode, because that's how bad the other ones are compared to those two. Alright, so up next is gonna be Rengoku. Rengoku's best ability is obviously going to be the second one, which is on the stun global cooldown, but is by far one of the best combo extenders in the game, because you can't actually do it after an M1 combo. There's enough time to pull them in before they can instant out. Obviously they can auto dodge, just keep that in mind when you're using the ability. But not only that, but the fourth mode ability, which is the Preta Spirit, it's an okay-ish, it's like a jank Renshiki first ability, but the best ability by far for Rengoku is definitely the second one. Alright, the best ability of Raion Ren, this isn't even close. I'm only gonna show you the first and second ability. The second ability is the best one. It's literally not close. The second ability is by far the only ability that makes Raion Ren even somewhat borderline usable. You do have the second mode, but the insane stat boost you can get from much better bloodlines. So yeah, the second ability, and the only reason I'm going to show you the first one, it is that bad. The first ability, it has the potential to be such an amazing move. It was really fun, but they removed the M1 prio off of it, and it's still not there, so you can get M1 after you use it. So you actually get countered by using a move, hitting a close range move. You actually get punished for it. I just want to let that sink in. Now the best ability of Deva Ren is actually going to be the mode C-spec and weapon spec. The C-spec is pretty bad, all things considered, but it can be used in the combo if you do it properly. And then obviously the weapon spec of the mode is Rengoku second. So that's why the mode's going to be so good for Deva Ren. But other than the mode, the first ability is actually the best ability, because it's not on any global cooldown and you can somewhat use it. So next up is going to be Shindai Rengoku. Obviously guys, the best ability of Shindai Ren is going to be the second ability. Second ability is a block break, massive AoE ability. You can just go slam that crap around the battlefield, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, the best ability of Shindai Akuma is definitely going to be the throwable. It's the throwable of the second ability by like a significant amount. The counter is also absolutely amazing. It's a really good counter. The only thing about it is that it takes a lot of chi. So you obviously have the first ability here, does a lot of damage. Pretty much everything about Shindai Akuma is really good, but the best ability is the throwable and the second ability. Alright, so next up is going to be Forged Rengoku. Now the best ability of Forged Rengoku is going to be the Z-spec, weapon spec, and the first ability. So the Z-spec, absolute massive damage whammy ability, does crap tons of damage, and it's pretty much unavoidable if you hit any ability of it whatsoever. And then obviously you have the weapon spec, it does a ton of damage, block breaks, you know, it's all Gucci that. And then the first ability here, you can actually charge chi while you're on the statue. You know, the main thing about it that's not that great is when you click, it actually drains mode, but if you do not click, you can just use it to charge your chi, and it makes it absolutely amazing as an ability. Now next up is going to be Doku Tengoku. The best ability of Doku Tengoku, and this is going to be by a significant amount, is going to be the first ability and the actual mode ability. So the first ability is a block break range, you could combo with it. Overall, just a really decent ability. Weapon spec is a massive damage burst, and as you guys can see, I can't even count all those threes, man. Huge damage burst. C-spec is really easy to combo with if you actually hit it on them. So you do something like mecha second into the C-spec, will do tons of damage, and you can actually combo during the C-spec because it has like no end lag to it. So yeah, Doku Tengoku, by far, those abilities are the best. Alright, so next up is going to be Satori Rengoku. Now the best ability of Satori Rengoku is by far the third one. Third one is definitely the best. It's not the best move in the world. Like, in all honesty, you would want to use Doku Tengoku second instead of this, but it is the best ability of Satori Ren. The second ability is a very close second, but the mode is just It's just like the mode can be useful sometimes, but there's always something better you'll be able to use. So the second ability, third ability, definitely the best abilities. Alright, so next up is going to be Kagoku. You guys already know what the best abilities of Kagoku are. C-spec, weapon spec, second ability. It's not even close with the other ones. The second ability is probably by far the best ability of Kagoku. I'm pretty sure it is literally the best combo extender in the game. Like, the actual best. C-spec is a massive mode drain ability, and the weapon spec allows you to escape fights. Or if you want, you could be absolutely annoying and block break them like absolute crazy. crazy. All right, so next up is going to be the Senkos. The best ability of Senko is by far the first ability. All the other abilities aren't really close. It's basically an instantaneous. You can avoid blocks and things like that. It's a really, really great ability overall. And honestly, none of the other abilities come even close to how good the first one is. All right, so the best ability of Dio Senko is by far going to be the second mode, C-Spec, and the weapon spec. Oops, I am using the wrong Senko. All right, so now that I have the actual Senko that I have leveled up properly, so the mode here, really, really, really good. Also, this is like super drippy, like, oh my god. But yeah, look at the C-Spec here. C-Spec is basically just, you can avoid blocks, things like that. It's also really, really good in general. Web spec, this is gonna lag out my game, but like, it's just, dude, everything about Dio Senko Senko mode is absolutely amazing. It's by far one of the best modes in the entire game. But just for Senko, the auto dodge is obviously the best ability of base Senko, just because auto dodges are overpowered right now. Now, the best ability of Azim Senko is going to be the first one. It's a counter ability. Whenever someone attacks you, it does like a small damage. Like, it does a little bit, a tiny bit of damage to them and stuns them. So it is the best ability of Azim Senko. But the C-Spec is a very close second because actually it's a huge damage burst stun ability. Very good for combo extending overall. All right, so for Pika Senko here, the best ability of Pika Senko is going to be the first one. The first one's going to be a teleport attack. It breaks block. It has M1 prio. Everything about the ability is good. And obviously the C-Spec and the weapon spec are also pretty good. You know, the mode is pretty decent in general. And the second ability is really, really good for traveling. All right, so for Minakaze, the best ability is going to be the third one and the first one. The first one is actually very good as a breakaway move. You can use it to escape combos. So if you're getting comboed, you can just click on the shuriken and then you can get out of combos that way. Overall, just a really good move for that. And the third ability. The third ability is absolutely amazing for comboing. There's a small gap in it, but you know, it's good for combo extending. And then you obviously have the C-Spec here, which is a stun ability. All right, so next up is going to be the Jokais. The best ability of normal Jokai is the second one, which is on the auto dodge, cooldown, but you can use it to escape combos and things like that. But the second best ability is obviously going to be the third one. It's very good just for combo extending in general. All right, so a lot like normal Jokai, the best ability of Godo Jokai is going to be the second and third move. Second move, you can use it during combos and things like that. It's really, really good in general. It's just really annoying to fight as well. And obviously you have the third ability here, really, really good for combo extending, breaks block, and it also can avoid auto dodges if they're actually using it during that. All right, so next up is going to be Light Jokai. This isn't even close with how the abilities are. The best ability of Light Jokai is going to be the C-Spec, weapon spec, and second ability. So the C-Spec really good for combo extending. The weapon spec is good for just combos in general. It's also a huge damage burst, and the second ability is a counter. So those are the best abilities of Light Jokai by like a large margin. The other ones are kind of borderline useless in all honesty. All right, so next is going to be some of the elemental bloodlines. I'm going to be running through these pretty quickly, all things considered, so just keep that in mind. Most of them only have one good ability anyways. So for Steam, obviously the dash is going to be the best ability. For Crystal, the best ability is going to be the second one. The second one's actually really, really good for combos in general, especially if you use it to like stall out fights. All right, so for Gold Sand, the best ability is going to be the first one. It's a lot like Shizen's ability, but it just isn't on the Snuggle cooldown, so it might actually be better than Shizen's ability based on what you guys think about it. All right, so for Bubble here, the best ability of Bubble is going to be the first one, just because the first one can be used to be kind of annoying, and it's not on any cooldown whatsoever. Now, the best ability of Atomic is going to be the second one. It's going to be an array move. Overall, it's just actually really, really good, just because it's like the array attack. It just goes a long distance. It has a pretty short cooldown and does a lot of damage. So the best ability of Ice is going to be the first one, because it actually has a very long time frame that actually goes on for. It also has a chance of doing quite a bit of damage if you land every single icicle that Ice actually does. All right, so for Paper, the best ability of Paper is going to be the first one, just because the first one you could kind of combo with it, and the damage it does is actually pretty good overall. The best ability of Explosion is going to be the second one. It's like an instantaneous 45k damage. It's not really anything special to it, but it actually is pretty good just for, you know, comboing or just getting a quick damage burst off. All right, so for Apollo Sand, the best ability of Apollo Sand is definitely going to be the third one. It's actually used for a lot of different one-shot combos in the game, but for the third ability, it does a ton of damage. The second best ability of Iron Sand is honestly just the M1s. The M1s are absolutely amazing for this, and the C-Spec actually has the chance of doing tons of damage as well. Now, for Bolt here, the best ability of Bolt's going to be the third one, just because it's instantaneous and you can use it to combo with, and it's also my favorite ability of Bolt. All right, so for Scorch, the best ability of Scorch is going to be the first one, just because you can use it as you're using M1 combos and things like that, and actually does quite a big damage burst. Second best ability is going to be the third one. The best ability of Lava is none. All right, so for Sound, the best ability of Sound is going to be the second one, just because it does a lot of damage and it's actually pretty good in combos. All right, so the best ability of Mud is going to be the third one. It's a pretty decently sized damage burst, and the first ability is really, really good for combos. All right, the best ability of Nature is definitely going to be the second one. It's going to be an ability that actually is a Woodbine stun. It has really good auto tracking. As you guys can see, I was aiming for this, and boom, it just auto tracked to this, and obviously it's just a really, really good ability. All right, so for Inferno, the second ability is going to be is the best one of it. You can use it to extend MO combos, and you can't take damage while you're actually dashing to them. All right, so for Sand, the best ability is going to be the third one, because you can use it to fly around a crowd like that, and it barely drains stamina. You could charge chi on it. It's a lot like Forged Ren first move in all honesty, but it actually drains stamina instead of draining chi. Next up is going to be Vine. The best ability of Vine is definitely the second one. You could use it to auto dodge, and also it's just really good in general. It lasts a really long time. The main downside is that it takes stamina. Alright, so for Shadow, the best ability of Shadow is definitely going to be the third one, just because it's really good if you manage to actually hit on them, because it actually is a stun. It also is a place lock stun. It's a really good ability overall, and the second ability functions a lot like the third one. They function very similarly. Frostfire is going to be next up. Obviously, the same thing as Scorch. The same abilities are actually, you know, equal. They just do a little bit less damage than Scored. Alright, the best ability of Glacier, this isn't even close. The second ability, which is the Mirror ability, you could use it to actually counter iframes, counter auto dodges. You could use it to even escape fights and things like that. It's just a really good ability in all honesty. For Ink here, the best ability of Ink is definitely going to be the second ability and the weapon spec. Second ability is kind of like a water prison stun, and the weapon spec is also really good, because if you could actually hit them with it, you could do a lot of damage. It actually does stun them for quite a bit. The best ability of Black Shock is definitely going to be the Z spec. The Z spec is by far the best ability of Black Shock, because it actually can be used to combo with it, and also obviously, as you guys see, it teleports instantly to them. Next up is going to be Emerald. The best ability of Emerald is actually going to be the third one, just because you could use it to run around, and when you actually hit them, it actually does do a decent damage burst. Alright, so for Storm, the best way is going to be the first one, because you could use it to actually counter auto dodges. When you use it, actually will bypass auto dodges, just because the move lasts so long. It lasts longer than any auto dodge in the game, so if you land that ability, their auto dodge is basically rendered almost completely useless. Best ability of Typhoon is obviously the second one. It has the potential to do crap tons of damage depending on how many Typhoons actually hit them. The best ability of Blood is going to be the third one. You could use it to actually drag people to you. It actually is also one of the longest stuns in the entire game. Best ability of Tsunami, obviously the first one. You could use it to actually do a significant amount of damage to people. It actually used to do a lot more, but it actually got majorly nerfed. Alright, so for Smoke here, the best ability of Smoke is going to be the first one, just because you could use it to travel around. Now for Web, the best ability is going to be the third one, just because you could use it, as I said before, to get around, kind of like Smoke, and you could actually use it to stun people and combo them. Alright, so next up we're going to be the clans in the game. The best ability of Azarashi is definitely going to be the third one. The third one I actually use quite a bit myself, as you guys might tell in my videos. Third ability, absolutely love it. It chi steals, and that's mainly the reason why it's so good. Alright, so for Okami, the best ability of Okami is going to be the first ability. It's going to be an ability where you go up in the sky and you slam down. It does a block break. It does a decent amount of damage. That's the only good ability of Okami, honestly. Now for Minikami, the best ability of Minikami, this is by a large margin as well. It's the second ability. It's a lizard. You ride around a lizard. You smack people in the face with a lizard tail. You know, it's all Gucci when you ride in the lizard. Oh, I just got flung. Alright, so next up's going to be Seishin. The best ability of Seishin is definitely going to be the C2 C-Spec. Not only that, but also the second ability is of Shizen here. I meant Shizen, not Seishin. It's also really good. But yeah, the C-Spec here, big whopping damage burst. If you actually manage to land all the C-Spec, it actually is a massive damage burst. Now, the best ability of Wanziame is going to be the Z-Spec. The Z-Spec is an ability where you kind of like go invisible, and then when you M1 people, it actually will drain chi from them. So yeah, it's really cool to be invisible. It's cool to go under the sea, you know, you could be a fish. Alright, so next up is going to be Dokei. The best ability of Dokei is going to be the first and second ability. Now, the first ability is kind of like the second one, but it's in a different format. The first ability is a silence, it's a dash attack. At the end, it does an explosion and does a decent amount of damage. The second ability is going to be a Genjutsu attack. So the second ability here, you use it, and basically what it does, it makes them M1 you, so they can't auto dodge or anything like that. C-Spec is basically just the first ability, but in a small AoE, and then obviously the M1s are really good for it as well. Now, the best ability of Rykan Shizen is obviously going to be the second ability. The second ability of Rykan Shizen is really good, just because it actually does a crap ton of damage to a massive AoE around you. I'm pretty sure it's actually the biggest ability in the game now, especially after the AoE nerfs. Alright, so the best ability of Kerada is definitely going to be the C-Spec. C-Spec, I'm gonna let the damage speak for itself. Yep, that's 100k damage instantly. The best ability of Kerada by far. And then the second best ability is going to be the third ability. You can actually do a lot of damage with it, and when you slam down on someone, it's just a really good ability. Alright, so for Kokotsu here, the best ability is going to be the second one. It actually is used in a lot of different M1 combos. Actually got the damage buffed, if you guys don't know. It does damage now. It used to do no damage, but yeah, it's basically just a dash attack. It's good for M1 combos, and that's about it. Now for Kenichi here, the best ability of Kenichi is actually going to be the C2 auto dodge. So when you go into the C2 mode, you actually have a chance of auto dodging anything that's used at you. But other than that, the other best ability of Kenichi is going to be the third one. Even though the third one is actually very easily countered, the third one is actually the second best ability of Kenichi. Alright, so for Kaijin, the best ability of Kaijin is going to be the third ability, mainly because it's just good against PvE, so it's good against bosses, but otherwise wise, the best, there's not really a better ability of Kaijin right here, man. Now for Seishin here, the best ability of Seishin is going to be the third one. It's an instantaneous Senbon ability. It does stun. It actually does a decent amount of damage afterwards. It actually used to do a lot of damage. That was obviously nerfed, as you guys can tell. And then you have the C-Spec here, which is a block break. You know, if you know how to time it properly, that's pretty good as well. All right, so next is going to be Nectar. The best ability in Nectar by far is the second ability. Second ability is an instantaneous ability. You can use it. It actually does quite a bit of damage as well, and it does stun them, so you can use it in combos. Next up is going to be Giovanni Shizen. The best ability of Giovanni Shizen is actually going to be the C2 C-Spec. So when you go to the C2 mode here, you do the C-Spec. It does tons of damage. As you guys can see, the amount of damage it does is absolutely insane. I'm pretty sure it does upwards of like 200,000 damage if you manage to land all of the C-Spec. All right, so for Ashen Storm, the best ability of Ashen Storm is going to be the third ability. Third ability is just it's a decent damage ability. It has no end lag, so you can't actually combo with it. The best ability of Aiden's Sun Mud is going to be the clone ability, just because you could use it to kind of annoy people, but that's about it. Alright, so regarding Koncho, the best ability of Koncho by far is going to be the third ability. Third ability has the chance to drain their entire chi bar, and the second ability is a very close second. Alright, so the best two abilities of Mecha Spirit are going to be the first and second. The second one's going to be used to kind of extend combos, and it doesn't have any end lag, so you can attack during it, things like that. And then obviously the block break is also really good as well. Alright, so for Clay here, the best ability of Clay is definitely going to be, in all honesty, the Z-Spec. Z-Spec, you could fly around on this giant clay majestic bird, and when you click, it actually does a lot of different attacks that dash in on them, and you can actually end up doing a lot of damage overall with this. Not only that, but the mode drain is like absolutely none. Alright, so for Oda Sabre here, the best abilities are going to be the weapon spec and second ability. The weapon spec is kind of like Sabre's C-Spec, but a little bit better, and then the second ability is a block break teleporting ability that you can use to actually start your combos. Not only that, but Oda Sabre just looks super drippy, man. Alright, so for Sabre here, the best ability of Sabre is going to be the first one. You could use it to like you could use it to extend M1 combos. You know, you could jump out of it, things like that. So the first ability is not the best thing in the world, but the low cooldown definitely makes up for it. The cooldown of it is so tiny. Also can't show you, C-Spec avoids block, so it's just overall Sabre is just a really good bloodline. That's a lie, it's not. Alright, so for Raion Kenichi, you guys already know it. It's going to be the low HP mode of the Z-Spec. The Z-Spec gives you a second life. Very good overall, and honestly the mode, I'm going to be dead honest when I say this, the mode of Raion Kenichi could literally be its own bloodline. The Z-Spec could be like a move of it. The weapon spec could be another move. You also have a counter, and then you also have the low HP mode. So yeah, Raion Kenichi mode is kind of like just an entire bloodline on its own. Alright, so the best ability of Eternal is going to be the first one, which is the counter. It is instantaneous now. It can actually get canceled, so don't use it during combos, but it is good overall. And then the second best ability is obviously going to be the stun. Next up is going to be Eastwood Karashi. The best ability of Eastwood Karashi is definitely going to be the first one. First one is really good for combos, but that's honestly about it when it comes to Eastwood. All the other abilities are kind of lackluster. Alright, so Dongan, the best ability of Dongan by far is going to be the third one. It actually does a lot of damage. It's very long range, and it's just a good ability. Now, the first ability is also decent. It's kind of like the third one, but a lot less AoE to it. Next up is going to be Bankai Inferno. The best ability of Bankai Inferno is definitely going to be the first one. It can be used as a breakaway move, so you can use it while you're getting combo and things like that, and you can use it to escape. Then, obviously, the second best ability is going to be the giant DPS damage Z-Spec that it has. Alright, so for Cobra, the best ability of Cobra is going to be the fact that if you are in the C-Spec and die, you can't actually revive. But other than that, the actual C-Spec of it is also quite good, just because you can get around with it. I would recommend not actually using the ability of it, though. Even though it does a lot of damage, it does drain your mode, like, extremely fast. Alright, so for Alpharama Shizen, the best ability of Alpharama Shizen actually used to be the third one. It used to be a block break, auto-tracking damage. It did a ton of damage, but now it's pretty much just the mode ability. C-Spec does a ton of damage. You also have a weapon spec, which also does a ton of damage, and then you have the throwable, which also does a ton of damage. Not only that, but the M1s, you actually get extended M1s. Alright, so for Hair, the best ability of Hair is going to be the second ability. It actually always was the best ability of Hair, but actually did get pretty nerfed. It used to do a lot of damage, but yeah, that's the main reason, that's the main ability of Hair that is actually good. Alright, so for Shiro Glacier here, the best ability of Shiro Glacier by far is the weapon spec. That's pretty much the only ability Shiro Glacier that kind of makes it worth spinning for. The weapon spec is an iframe stun ability that actually does a crap ton of damage. Alright, so for Ghost Karashi here, the best ability of Ghost Karashi is going to be the C-Spec. It's a mode drain ability. So Van Helsing actually has a crap ton of really good abilities. The second one can be used as an iframe ability to avoid combos and things like that. Also does a ton of damage to people, as you guys can see. C-Spec can be used to avoid combos yet again. It's another iframe move. It also heals heals you and things like that. The throwable's another iframe move. So yeah, all of the iframe moves of Van Helsing are absolutely amazing. Alright, so for Naramaki, the best ability is obviously going to be the third one. The third one is an auto-tracking ability. It doesn't have that much startup anymore, and it's obviously just the best ability in Naramaki. The second one is a very close second now, just because it removed from the auto cooldown, and actually is a block break move. Alright, so for Kamaki here, the best ability is obviously going to be the cube ability, where you have the cubes that fly behind you. You can use it to actually do crap tons of damage to people, or you can actually use it to escape combos. So when you're getting combo, you can just go donk, just escape that crap, you know, get out of there, you know what I'm saying? But overall, Kamaki's just actually extremely good as a bloodline, especially the C-spec for boss farming. Alright, so next up is going to be Boramaki. Obviously, guys, the best ability of Boramaki is the second ability. It's the iframe ability, where you can use the click, TP people to use. You can use it to combo people, things like that. It's obviously the best, but the other abilities are also not that bad. Everything about Boramaki is kind of mid, in all honesty. You know, the C-spec is used to remove cooldowns for people. The third ability actually does tons of damage. You land everything. Overall, Boramaki is just really decent as a KG. The second ability is just a little bit better than the rest. Alright, so for Jiramaki here, obviously, guys, the best ability is going to be the first one, which is the stun ability. You know, some people say it doesn't last long enough. I think it does. The stun's fine. And obviously, the hair grab move is also really good, but it also glitches them out so they can just like fling away. They can fly across the map. You know, that's not very fun. And the mode of Jiramaki is also very decent at best, you know. Anyways, guys, that's actually here for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like, subscribe, guys. Bye bye.